You, how much for your wife?
I ran out of gas. I had a flat tire. I didn't have enough money for cab fare.
You better think about what you're trying to do to me. Yeah, think. Let your mind go, let yourself be free.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses.
Hit it.
It is one of the most popular films of all time, a Chicago treasure that has been inducted into the National Film Registry for cultural significance. And now a new book takes a closer look at the Blues Brothers and the relationship between its iconic stars, John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. The Blues Brothers, an epic friendship, the rise of improv, and the making of an American film classic, was written by Daniel Davizet, who joins us right now, a native Southsider, I might add. And Daniel, if I wasn't impressed enough that you're a Southsider, you went to Northwestern, you shared a 2001 Pulitzer Prize, you also wrote a book that I just read recently, somebody brought to my attention, about Andy Griffith and Don Knotts. And you were related to Don Knotts, right?
Yes, he was married to my sister-in-law. We went to Disney World together. We went to Vegas together. He was like Elvis. Everybody would mob him.
Wow.
Of course, Mr. Farley and Barney Fife, how can you not? So about the Blues Brothers now, I always thought that this was created as a result of them appearing on Saturday Night Live, the actual appearances. But it was before that, wasn't it? It was the Blues Brothers were off the air on Saturday Night Live, and that's really how it got started, right?
Yeah, the characters go back, I think, to 1974 when Belushi and Aykroyd met in Canada, and someone suggested that they call themselves the Blues Brothers. The two of them were sitting at a tavern and talking about, dreaming of having a duo, rhythm and blues duo. Both of them had musical backgrounds. Belushi had played the drums in high school in Wheaton and had performed on Lemmings. If anybody remembers Lemmings, the National Lampoon show. Yep. It had a killer Joe Cocker impression. And Aykroyd had been a blues hound up in Canada where he grew up. I think also played the drums and played the harmonica, and he somehow managed to sit in with Muddy Waters once. I don't entirely understand why, but so the two of them had a lot of they were sort of like frustrated musicians who were very successful comedians, and then they dreamed up these characters.
And Lorne Michaels wouldn't let them on the air at first. They did warm up, right? And then eventually Lorne Michaels gave in and put them on the air.
For people who really know the early SNL, maybe you and I, we probably both saw this episode. They showed up in early '76 dressed as bees, which is sort of the beginning of the Blues Brothers. It was a somewhat humiliating number, but they were very happy to be on air. And then the characters kind of went on ice for a little while, and they resurfaced in April of '78. And this is, some would say, the greatest SNL episode ever. It was the one with King Tut, if you remember that one with Steve Martin.
Of course, yeah.
And that was the real debut of the Blues Brothers, in the hat and the shades. And it's true, Lorne Michaels had sort of second thoughts about putting these goofballs on the air because they weren't professional singers. Try to think of like Martin and Lewis they didn't go like tour the country as a singing duo. It was just weird. It was a weird idea these guys had, but as we would see, it was very successful.
I'm fascinated by the fact that all of these musical cameos we see, Aretha Franklin, Cab Calloway, all these people, the studio didn't initially want all those people in the film? Could that be true? Was it just a money issue?
This gets to the real mission from God. The real mission from God was Aykroyd and Belushi, John Landis, the director, wanted to help rekindle the careers of some of the rhythm and blues greats. It's hard to remember this, but in '79, you remember the Disco Demolition, Steve Dahl and all that?
Of course.
Disco was king. Arena rock ruled the arenas. Aretha and Ray Charles and James Brown, to some degree, were struggling. And Aykroyd and Landis and Belushi wanted to bring them back and kind of put them front and center in this film. And that was the real mission from God, if you will. Oh. And yes, so the Universal Studios, some of the execs were a little wary about having these sort of, heroes of yesteryear appear on film. They wanted Rolls Royce, the combo that had done the car wash theme.
I saw that when they dropped that car. I was driving to work that morning, and I saw them shooting that scene. And everybody will tell you that they saw a scene from the Blues Brothers because it's so Chicago-centric. How did it wind up being here? Why didn't they do it in Hollywood? It became a Chicago landmark now.
Well, Dan Aykroyd, you can thank him for that. He loved Chicago. He wasn't from there, but he knew Belushi was, and he worshipped the blues and felt like Chicago was probably the center of the universe. And he'd been there in '74 for like a month in summer with a trade-off of Second City companies. He loved Chicago, and it was his idea to set it there. And you know what? Chicago shut itself down for this movie, and I don't know what other big city would have done that then or now.
And is it true that John Belushi made double what Dan Aykroyd made on that movie? Didn't that cause some problems?
He was at least twice the star. If we remember Animal House.
Oh, yeah.
Bluto, that put him on the cover of Newsweek. He was a massive star. And the reason I would say there was a Blues Brothers film at all was there was going to be another Belushi film. It was just a question of what film. And that was what he was into, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah, it was unbelievable that they had unfettered access to the city because Mayor Daley never allowed anything to be filmed here. And then when Jane Byrne came into office, she said, yeah, let's do this. In fact, there's a famous photo of her with the Blues Brothers hat and sunglasses with Aykroyd and Belushi. So really, it was kind of Jane Byrne that helped to make this movie happen, right?
I think that she kind of liked the idea of a car crashing through the Daley Plaza. Daley's cronies, his supporters, gave her a hard time. Any of us who lived through that will remember that. She was teased. She was called names. There was a lot of sexism. I think Mike Royko called her bossy, And so she kind of warmed to the idea of, hey, let's crash a convoy through Daley Plaza. And she did reopen the film industry, and then there came a whole bunch of great Chicago films, all the John Hughes ones and Fugitive, all these wonderful productions that came in after the Blues Brothers.
Well, the book is The Blues Brothers, An Epic Friendship, The Rise of Improv and the Making of an American Film Classic. Dan will be speaking at the American Writers Museum tomorrow night, and get the details on his website or follow him on X. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very, very much. I love WGN.
Thank you.
Thank you.